Hello guys, today we are going to do dominance matrix. That's the next part of exercise 9.3. So learning intention is to understand and apply understanding of dominance matrix, and then you should be able to successfully use the dominance matrix in a real life situation. So you can again complete the warm-up questions, and the answers are in the slides as well, but make sure you do them first and then check the answers. Okay, so what is a dominance matrix? So dominance, as the name says, it's the dominant situation in which one person dominates over another. So it could be in a real life situation, like in a sport where there is a tournament and one player is dominating the tournament, is winning, or the other is losing, or in a business, or in a test, or in a ranking. So that's the dominant, you know what dominant means. So that is a dominance matrix. So when we use a matrix to represent that situation, we call that as a dominance matrix. And the network diagram which we make, we call that as a digraph. Okay. So yep, so as I already explained you can read through that. So the examples could be like competitions where there are winners and losers, and food chains of who is eating who. And so how we indicate that when we draw the diagram, if you remember in the communication matrix, we used to put arrows from A to B, B to C, and the arrows could be two-way. But in here, the arrows would be just in only one direction, and an arrow from A to B in a dominance diagram shows that A has dominated B. For example, A has defeated B in a competition, or A eats B. So wherever the arrow is going towards, so that has defeated the other one. So that is your direct dominance. So direct dominance is a one-step dominance where A dominates B, and there will be only one arrow from A towards B. And there's also indirect dominance of A over B, and that we call as two-step dominance, where A dominates C and then C dominates B. So if you remember, like in the communication diagrams, we used to have, like, there could be two-step communication. Like I've given you the example of Flinders Streets to Footscray, then Footscray to Werribee catching a train. So that was a two-step communication. In here, the same thing. It could be a tournament, A defeated C, and then the C defeated A, like C defeated B, and B defeated A. So there is indirect relationship, not a direct one. So that one is the indirect dominance. Okay, so how we represent that? Again, if it's A, B, C, D, we just put points like square brackets for matrices, and A, B, C, D on one side, A, B, C, D on the other side, and it needs to be a square dominance matrix. And the sum of the elements in each column of M gives us the number of direct dominance for each of A, B, and C. So that is an important thing to note, and make a note of this slide. This is important. So when we do the matrix, if you do the sum of the column of the matrix, it will show you the total number of direct dominance. So for example, it will make more sense when we do the next example. So if the sum of that column is 2, it means A has won 2 out of 5 games, or whatever is given, total of 2. So there's a direct dominance of 2. If it's 4, it's 4. If it's 0, it means there is no dominance of A over others. So that's one thing. And the other one is the sum of the elements in each column. So if you remember in the communication matrix, we used to do M square. So we can do the same here to find the indirect dominance, as we did in the indirect communication, like two-step communication thing. So here, when we do the M square, we can find the indirect dominances. So maybe in the SAC, you get a question about find the indirect dominance. So you need to do the square of the matrix. And then there's one more scenario in which we can do M plus M square, which gives us the direct and indirect, the total overall, both of them. Okay. Let's do the example. So that is a worked example from your book, and it's asking you to draw. Yeah, here's the question. Let me do this. Okay. Yeah, so Abby, Bess, Kath, and Denise play off against each other in a series of one-on-one basketball games. In these games, Abby beat Bess. Bess had no wins. Kat beat Bess and Denise beat Abby and Bess. So there's a situation given to you. So you need to draw a diagram first. So you can choose letters. So it could be A, B, C, D in this case, A for Abby, B for Bess, C for Kat, and D for Denise. So you can just write A, B, C, D first and then see who beats who. So Abby beats Bess, so A beats B. So it means from A to B, you're putting one arrow towards B because A is dominating B. Then the next one, Bess had no wins. So there will be no arrow going from B to anywhere because it has got no wins. And then Kat beat Bess and Denise. So from C, it will be going one arrow to B and D because she has beaten both. And then Denise beat Abby and Bess. So from D, it would be A and B. So you can see the direction of arrows. So it's given here, you just drawing it, it's pretty easy. And then you do the same thing as you used to do in the communication matrix. You need to draw a matrix out of that. So wherever the arrow is going to, you just put 1 there and others are 0. So for example, it's ABCD, write ABCD on both sides. So from A to A, of course, there is 0. Then from A to B, there is 1. So A to B, you put 1 here. Then from A to C, there is nothing. So 0, no wins. A to D, there is no arrow going from A to D. So it's 0. Similarly, you do from B to A. So B to A, no, 0. Then B to B, 0. Then B to C, 0. And basically B had no wins. From there, you can just put zeros everywhere because no wins means you have to put 0 there. And then from C, so from C, one arrow is going towards B. So from C to B, it's 1. And then the another one is D. So from C to D is 1. And all the others are 0 because there is no arrow going from C to A or to the other. So that's how you do it. Okay. And then you need to say, find how many wins each person had. So if you remember from the previous slide, I told you, if you do the sum of the columns, you will see the direct wins. So for example, for A, how many wins A will have? Only 1, because it has got a total of 1 of the column. How many wins B? No wins, 0. Then for C, it's 1 and 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, so 2 wins total. Then D, it will also have 1 plus 1, 2 wins. So when you do the sum underneath, you will see the number of wins, direct wins for that person. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then you need to find m squared. So you just put that in your CAS calculator, do square of it, raised to the power 2, and you'll get the answer. So if you remember from the previous slide, the m square gives you the 2-step thing. So like the indirect dominance. So when you do the m square, you will see for C to A, you got 1 here, whereas in the original M, you had 0. So it means C will have the indirect win over A. So that's why we do m square, to see the indirect wins. So m square tells us how often a player defeated a player who had defeated another player. It gives us the number of indirect wins. So in this case, although Abby and Kat didn't play each other, we can see that Kat defeated a player who had defeated Abby. Yep. So because it's 1 here, earlier it was 0. So that was an indirect win. Then the next one, you need to do m plus m square. So it shows you the direct wins and the indirect wins both. So the total number of wins. So you can just do the, so based on this, Kat has dominated and should be declared winner because she has got a total of 2, 3, and 4 wins if you do the sum of the columns. So you need to just dominance questions. You may get that in a one of those in the SAC. So just see just check the scenario, draw the diagram, matrix, and just answer the question. It's pretty simple, and if you do more practice, will make more sense. And for the work today, finish the prep 4 question and the exam practice rest of that, and basically finishing all 9.3 today. So I didn't receive most of your work again. Please send me your work and any questions if you have. Watch Edrolo, ask me for help, come on Google Meet, whichever way, and watch this video recording, and then you can use the slides, books. There are lots of resources you can use. Just let me know how I can help you if you're having any troubles. And once we finish chapter 9, we will do an SNN task. and then we'll do practice SAC, some revision, and then SAC probably in week 8, around week 8, early week 8 or late week 7. Okay. Hope it makes sense. All right. Bye.